The winds blew softly across the arid plains of the Iranian plateau as early tribes began forming the first settlements that would one day become Persia. These early communities, nourished by the waters of the Tigris, Euphrates, and later the Karun, began to understand the significance of agriculture and irrigation, laying the groundwork for civilization. Though not yet a mighty empire, their methods of water management, using qanats, underground aqueducts, set the stage for sustainable development. As the centuries passed, the scattered tribes of Elamites, Medes, and Persians coalesced into greater sociopolitical units. It was under the Achaemenid dynasty that Persia truly began its influence over the known world. Cyrus the Great, founder of this dynasty, created a model of governance based not on brutality but on tolerance and inclusion. His conquest of Babylon marked not only a military triumph but also a moment when a conqueror freed the enslaved and allowed diverse cultures to thrive. The Cyrus Cylinder, often considered the world's first charter of human rights, encapsulated this vision. In it, Cyrus declared the freedom of worship, the repatriation of displaced peoples, and the restoration of temples. Long before the Magna Carta or the Enlightenment thinkers of Europe, Cyrus had defined a model of benevolent rulership that respected human dignity. This foundational idea would echo through millennia. The Persian system of administration became a marvel of the ancient world. Darius the Great expanded the empire's infrastructure, connecting its vast lands with the royal road, a precursor to modern highway systems. Couriers could travel swiftly from Susa to Sardis, delivering messages in record time, an ancient postal system that informed later empires. The logistical acumen and efficiency seen here are mirrored in modern governance. Beyond infrastructure, Persia brought forth an economic model grounded in standardized coinage. The daric and siglos allowed trade across thousands of miles, from India to Egypt. This economic uniformity fostered commerce and cultural exchange, functioning much like the euro in the modern-day European Union. The Persian economy wasn't just about wealth but about unifying vast populations under a coherent system. Persian governance introduced the satrapy system, dividing the empire into provinces governed by satraps. These local rulers operated with relative autonomy but remained accountable to the central authority. This federal structure influenced later models, including Roman provinces and modern federal states. It emphasized balance between central oversight and local governance, an enduring political concept. Religion in ancient Persia also laid the groundwork for major theological developments. Zoroastrianism, founded by the prophet Zoroaster, introduced the concepts of monotheism, the duality of good and evil, and moral choice. Ahura Mazda, the supreme god, embodied light and truth, while Angra Mainyu represented darkness and deceit. These dualistic principles shaped later Abrahamic religions, including Judaism, Christianity, and Islam. Zoroastrian eschatology, the belief in a final judgment, resurrection of the dead, and heaven and hell, found echoes in later religious doctrines. The idea that humanity had moral agency and that deeds mattered beyond the grave became central to religious and philosophical thought worldwide. Persia, through its faith, had instilled a spiritual architecture that would underpin future worldviews. The Persian Empire's respect for cultural diversity was revolutionary. Unlike other conquerors who suppressed local customs, Persians often adopted and integrated foreign traditions. In Egypt, Darius built temples and respected local deities. In Babylon, Cyrus restored native shrines. This model of cultural assimilation influenced the concept of pluralism in modern society. Art and architecture flourished in Persia, not merely for aesthetic value but as an expression of power, unity, and cosmopolitanism. The city of Persepolis, built by Darius and expanded by Xerxes, symbolized the grandeur and inclusivity of the empire. Its bas-reliefs depicted delegates from various nations bringing tribute, portraying diplomacy over domination, a visual celebration of diversity. The use of advanced materials and engineering techniques in Persepolis predated some Roman innovations. Multi-columned halls, monumental staircases, and intricate carvings showcased an architectural language that would be studied and emulated for centuries. These innovations would later influence Islamic architecture and, through it, Renaissance and Enlightenment Europe. Persian medicine and science, transmitted through centuries, deeply impacted the medieval Islamic world and, subsequently, the West. During the Sassanid Empire, the Academy of Gundashapur became a center of learning that combined Greek, Indian, and Persian knowledge. Physicians like Borzuya translated and preserved classical texts, setting the stage for the scientific method. These texts, once translated into Arabic and Latin, became foundational in medieval European universities. The diagnostic techniques, pharmacological knowledge, and emphasis on empirical observation from Persian medicine echoed in the Renaissance. In this sense, Persia became a bridge between the ancient and modern scientific worlds. Persian contributions to mathematics and astronomy also warrant recognition. Their adoption and adaptation of Indian numerals, along with innovations in algebra and trigonometry, traveled through Islamic scholars like al-Khwarizmi, whose name gave us the word algorithm. These mathematical advancements became core to later scientific and technological revolutions. Literature thrived in Persia, too, with Ferdowsi's Shahnameh serving not only as a historical epic but also as a cultural compass. His work preserved pre-Islamic Persian identity and values in the face of foreign influence. This literary resilience inspired cultural nationalism in many parts of the world, particularly during colonial periods. The Persian poetic tradition, especially through Rumi, Hafez, and Saadi, emphasized universal love, moral introspection, and metaphysical wonder. Rumi's verses became global in appeal, touching hearts across centuries. His ideas of tolerance, divine love, and the human quest for meaning resonate in today's world, making Persian poetry one of its most spiritual exports. Persia's approach to diplomacy also had modern underpinnings. Treaties, envoys, and ceremonial protocols were sophisticated and often emphasized mutual benefit rather than sheer dominance. This early form of international relations foreshadowed the modern diplomatic corps in institutions like the United Nations. Under successive dynasties, Parthian, Sassanid, Safavid, and Qajar, Persia maintained a dynamic identity. Even when influenced by Hellenism, Islam, and Mongol invasions, it preserved its language, traditions, and administrative know-how. The survival and adaptation of Persian culture, even under foreign rule, mirrors modern ideas of cultural resilience and identity politics. The Safavid dynasty, in particular, marked the solidification of Shia Islam as the state religion. This move had vast implications for geopolitics, shaping the Sunni-Shia divide that still influences Middle Eastern dynamics today. Yet, the Safavid embrace of Persian art, calligraphy, and architecture ushered in a golden age akin to the European Renaissance. The Persian miniature painting style, detailed and rich in narrative, influenced Ottoman and Mughal art. Persian carpets became symbols of luxury and craftsmanship, often more treasured in Europe than local tapestries. This cross-cultural admiration points to Persia's role in shaping global aesthetics and trade. The Enlightenment in Europe, often thought to be a purely Western phenomenon, was indirectly fueled by Persian wisdom. When European scholars accessed Persian philosophical texts and ethical writings via Islamic Spain, they found concepts of justice, governance, and human dignity that broadened their perspectives. In legal thought, too, Persia had its contributions. The concept of a just king bound by divine and moral law, as seen in both Achaemenid and Sassanid philosophy, anticipated later notions of constitutional monarchy and the rule of law. The king was not above the law, but a servant of truth, a radical idea in ancient times. Language played a crucial role in Persia's global influence. Persian served as a lingua franca in Central Asia, South Asia, and parts of the Middle East. Even in India, Persian was the court language for centuries, shaping the vocabulary of Urdu and influencing Hindi. The linguistic legacy of Persia still echoes in everyday conversations. Trade routes like the Silk Road furthered Persian influence. As merchants traversed these routes, they carried not just goods but ideas, religious, scientific, and cultural. Persia, being a geographic and cultural crossroads, became both a transmitter and innovator in this global exchange. Persian culinary traditions, too, have left a mark. Rice pilafs, kebabs, saffron, and pomegranate-based dishes spread far beyond Iran's borders. Culinary diplomacy, though often overlooked, is a subtle form of cultural dominance that Persia mastered early on. The Persian worldview emphasized harmony between man, nature, and the divine. Garden design reflected this vision. The Paradise Garden, or Paradisa, influenced Islamic, Mughal, and even European garden architecture. The word, paradise, itself stems from Old Persian, signifying a walled garden of peace and reflection. Even in decline, Persia adapted. Faced with invasions by Arabs, Turks, and Mongols, it integrated external elements while preserving its core. Persian culture often enriched its conquerors more than it was diminished. This cultural alchemy is rare and profound, a hallmark of civilizations that endure. In the modern era, Persia, renamed Iran in 1935, continued to shape geopolitics. The 20th century oil boom, nationalization movements, and 1979 revolution made Iran a focal point of global affairs. But beneath the headlines lies a continuity of thought, values, and innovation that stretches back millennia. Western misconceptions often painted Persia as exotic or backward. But a deeper look reveals that Persia laid the intellectual, spiritual, and institutional foundations of much that we consider modern. Its contributions are woven into the fabric of global civilization. Whether in political structure, religious thought, science, or art, Persia pioneered ideas that predated and inspired those of Greece, Rome, and the modern West. Its long continuity and adaptability made it not just a recipient of progress but a prime inventor of it. To suggest that Persia invented the modern world may seem bold, but the evidence is compelling. Its legacy in human rights, governance, culture, and science permeates global systems. The question is not whether Persia influenced modernity, but whether we are willing to give it the credit it deserves. In classrooms, Persia is often overshadowed by Greece or Rome, but its contributions were equally profound. Without Persia's mediating role between East and West, the Renaissance might have faltered, the Enlightenment delayed, and science stunted. The story of Persia is not merely one of conquest or empire, but of continuity, creativity, and contribution. Its ideas did not vanish. They evolved, traveled, and took root in foreign lands. In this way, Persia became immortal, not by sword but by thought. Modern legal systems, international diplomacy, ethical monotheism, and even the postal service carry the stamp of Persia's genius. From the plains of Pars to the capitals of Europe, the shadow of Persia falls long and deep. Its ancient cities may lie in ruins, but its spirit lives in our institutions, our languages, and our ideas. The wisdom of Cyrus, the vision of Darius, the poetry of Rumi, all echo in today's world. Persia invented the modern world, not by domination, but by integration. Not by force, but by thought. Not by annihilation, but by inspiration. And so, in the silence of forgotten scrolls and the majesty of timeless poetry, Persia still whispers, "I shape the world you live in." And indeed, it did.